beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to this episode of the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This is a series that's going to be broken down into 3 episodes. It was a masterclass I delivered and I just had to put it out to you all. I really broke down how to still be in that place of deliberate creation when you're going through debilitating grief, which is what I went through in May. But, how can we not fall off the wagon when the world seems to sweep us up and take us for a ride? Like, how do we still stay in that seat of deliberate creation despite everything that's happening around you? This is such a powerful series, so I cannot wait to show it to you. Without further ado, this is this week's episode. Okay. What I am is so excited to talk to you today because I'm assuming you guys are all here because you either have a business that you want to scale or you're wanting to jump into this online entrepreneurial world and you're wondering where to start. Number 1, if you have a business that you're wanting to take to the next level, give me a 1 in the comments. Give me a 2 if you have an idea but you don't know where to start, just so I know what I'm working with and who I'm speaking to. So then I can I know what I'm going to be talking about today, but then I can tailor it a little bit more to where you guys are at right now. And regardless, this will be applicable to anybody, because the majority of the success that you experience in your business and the majority of the success I've been able to get my clients is through understanding frequency, is through understanding the quantum, is through understanding who you are as a multidimensional being and understanding that your business is also multidimensional. So we're gonna dive straight in. I don't know if anyone felt 2023 was a shakeout year. It's what I'm calling it. It was the year that anything that was misaligned, the universe would not tolerate. 2023 for me was really interesting. I asked to take myself and my business to the next level, and the universe was like, okay, if you want to go to the next level, you got to shift out some major things. And oftentimes that happens for people who are really dedicated to evolution and growth and their mission. And let me tell you, this ain't for the faint of heart. It's, especially my beautiful spiritual beings who are very keenly sensitive to energy and sensitive to emotion and sensitive to frequency. Oftentimes when we feel discomfort, we can misinterpret that for misalignment. But can I tell you, that is when the biggest growth is waiting for you. And on the other side of that density, that resistance, that grief, that sorrow, that you fill in the blank, when you can lean into that and continue to choose your path, growth is inevitable. One of the reasons why I was inspired to do this is, and I'm going to be super vulnerable, is last year I decided to leave a 14-year marriage. It was an amicable decision, but I have a child, and I have to say it was the most intense and debilitating grief I've ever in my life experienced, to the point where it felt almost irrational. Like, I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through my parents' own divorce. I've been through my mom's death, as we've all been through a lot. For some reason, this grief was insanely paralyzing for me. Like, I'm talking, some days couldn't pull myself off the kitchen floor. It was debilitating. Is the only way I could describe it. And yet my business still scaled well into multi six figures and is continuing to grow. And I want to break down how that was even possible. Now, I also want to warn you, for those of you who aren't used to me, I sometimes will cuss. So if that puts you off, I apologize, but it slips out. I've lived in Australia for too long not to. It just helps me emphasize my points a little bit more. So there were some things I got to dissect during that time, and there's some things that came to the surface that helped me realize that no matter what you're going through, you can be in grief and you can still choose success. You don't have, it's not one or the other. We are frequency driven. We are deliberately creating our experiences. However, we don't have to choose. And in the beginning of my journey, in the beginning of my grief, oh, it was wild. Moral of the story, through anything and everything, we still get to choose our timelines. We still get to understand that those timelines are available, and it's beyond frequency that gets us there. It's beyond frequency that gets us there. So I really want to break this down because I think this will give you that next layer of power and empowered and being in an empowered place when it comes to deliberately creating, because let's face it, things pop up, curveballs are thrown at us, unexpected things happen, and we can be paralyzed in whatever emotion, yet we still can choose higher realm timelines. And I want to make business simple. Like, business actually gets to be simple. I love that truth, by the way. Business gets to be simple. Some of you are going to hear me talk about some very familiar things, but I really need to reemphasize some points, help people to understand, how we get to navigate our reality and everything that we experience, and really plant some powerful seeds for creation. And I want you to know that business can be simple. Making a lot of money gets to be simple. I have broken it down into three main pillars, which carried me. So before, I was saying that the universe showed me immediately when I was choosing that grief had to be my reality and that I had to choose one or the other, grief or building my business. Immediately, I was shown that timeline and I was in it. Things started, I had my first failed launch in my whole career. Nobody converted. And it was like such an accessible product. I think it was what I did. I relaunched my money course. I launched it once. It was wildly successful. I replicated that whole thing. No one converted. And I was like, I knew that was in my heart of hearts, knew that was going to happen because I wasn't in the right frequency. I knew I was being driven by the grief. And in my mind, I had created a belief. I had chosen a belief that it had to be grief and nothing else. It couldn't be grief and success. So it's not like, I'm not saying if you're ever going through anything to push the emotion behind and trudge on. I'm saying you can coexist with it. You can coexist with it. The grief took over. There was nothing I was going to do about that unless I wanted to go down the substance abuse route, which of course is not an option for me. The grief was there. It had me knocked over occasionally. It was going to be in that reality as long as it needed to be, which was approximately about 3 months. But in those moments, I realized that I was choosing that. And I thought that if that was my reality, that I couldn't also have all the other things. And I want you to know that what I learned is it gets to be both. It gets to be both because that's what we choose. We are the architects. There is 0 laws on this planet, in this universe, that say, if you're in grief, you cannot achieve. That's not a law. Maybe it's a rule that we've created based on a story, based on someone else's experience, based on a false belief system. Rules are one thing. Laws are something completely different. There are the laws of the universe. There are the laws of gravity. It is what must be. That is a law. What happens are humans create all these friggin' crazy rules, which are a belief system that take over our reality, but don't realize that they can be changed. That rules are not concrete. They're actually made to be broken. I love that. I love that saying. Rules are made to be broken. So if we've created a rule that I am this, therefore I cannot that, that's going to quickly show up in your reality. So I want to take you through how I've kind of broken business down. This could be like a foolproof business because no matter what happens, you still get to choose. You could still be in grief, like I said, and you could still be like my business. So not only was I in the craziest emotional state, wasn't vibing high, we'll just say, was not vibing high. I took about 6 months off from launching. You probably would have seen me go a little bit quieter on social media, meaning you wouldn't have seen my face as much if you follow me. I kind of had my team take over that a bit, but I needed that time. So not only was I in the craziest energetic state and trying to navigate a whole new reality and new timeline, I was thrown unexpected things. And also I took about 6 months off of my business. Still, we managed to go well into multi six figures. So there were definite pieces of the puzzle of this. I want to break down three things, two of which were like my soul energetic anchors. And then the last thing, the smallest piece of this is actually the strategy, which you might find funny. But I know in my heart of hearts, and I preach this is my core belief, is that your success is you choosing your timelines that are all available. Truly. Your success is choosing timelines that are available. Now, I want to break down how you can do this. This is so freaking crucial when you embody this knowledge. And when I say embody, I mean it's not just a concept that I'm teaching you. Don't let this information remain a concept. Concepts don't go far. Embodiments, if it's embodied, it means that it is your innate truth that you live and die by. Sometimes embodiments will take a minute to click. And truly, concepts stay up here in your brain. You will feel when information anchors, boom, into your body. Information will anchor into your body. That's why it's called an embodiment. And your body is the organ of truth. Your body is the organ of truth. I spent years and years and years as a kinesiologist, which, I mean, that's a whole different story. But understanding the information that comes from the wisdom of your body it goes well past what we could even consciously ever comprehend. So know that once this information I teach you lands into your body knows that this is its new reality. It's more than just, oh, this is great information Sarah's taught me. Let it be an embodiment, because when it is an embodiment, this is how you navigate new timelines, because you've become a frequency. This information, when it's in your body, it becomes a frequency. When it becomes a frequency, this is how you navigate new timelines and shift into newness in a really powerful way. Okay, so let's break it down. I got so many exciting things to talk about. So here are the three main pillars that will have business be simple. It is number one, understanding the quantum, which I'm going to teach you. We're going to dive super deep into that. One, understanding yourself as an energetic being, an energetic creator, getting rid of all the old rules and belief systems that you have been governed by, because that frees you from the matrix and puts you back into choice. Choice is where you get to be every single day, but we forgot. We forgot that we get to choose all of this, regardless of our life circumstances. I mean, this is the whole point. You still can choose when you're on the floor laid in grief. You still get to have success. I promise. I'm sitting here telling you the story now. And plus, guys, I have all the client stories to back it and blah, 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 blah. What you need to do is then take it and place it and put this quantum practice into a structure, because it needs to be automatic. Your structures in your day, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do this as well. It needs to be so automatic that it's like when you get into a car and you drive somewhere that you've driven to every single day where you don't even have to think about it. That's how automatic these practices need to be, because I don't even want you thinking about them. I just want you doing them, because then it just becomes a subconscious pattern and a frequency that it just happens. What happens is if we don't have structures and we're flitting and floating around, we are ungrounded and we don't have an anchor. And if we don't have an anchor and we're really struggling in our reality, the universe will just kind of shit whip us around. Excuse my French. We don't want that. Structures give you an anchor. This is important. This is the one thing I actually didn't really have before I went through the grief, that it forced me to build structure in my life, because it felt like everything else was tumbling around me and I needed to grab onto every thread that I could control. And the structure saved me. And honestly, when you have a structure, you can double down on your frequency and your reality shifts so quick. Then the small piece is the strategy. I love strategy. I love business strategy, but the quantum and the structures behind this, when you piece it with aligned strategy, needs to be aligned strategy, by the way. This makes business foolproof. And the cool thing is I'm in a few different masterminds personally, and it's so cool to watch humans have the total opposite strategies. Meaning one of my friends is running 7 figures based on only content that she posts on Instagram. I have another friend that's running 7 figures who doesn't do any content, who has everything automated and is running funnels. And so for me, it's like you get to choose how good you want your business to feel based on alignment, knowing that strategy is never one size fits all. It never is. It has to feel good, because if you're showing up to serve, the way in which you do that has got to be aligned. Right now, because our planet is shifting, the universe is not tolerating misalignment. It's not tolerating it. It's like everything is being forced out. It's really, really bizarre. It is showing me the things that are misaligned before I even realized they were. I had an amazing VA who I worked with for years, and there were just so little things that were coming up where I was like, ooh, I just, little tweaks in my solar plexus. They were like, ooh, Sarah, I don't know about this. Immediately the universe shifted her out. It was bizarre how quick it is happening. So you need to understand alignment. You need to choose it, and business gets to be fully aligned. So we're going to break it down into 3 different structures. Everything I do is based on alignment. Number 1, leaving my husband of 14 years made 0 sense. I mean, it made sense in the way that there was just no love between us. He's a beautiful man. I like to think I'm a good person. We were just not a match anymore. However, I'm choosing to leave the midst of a recession when everything's going haywire, interest rates are rising, we have a mortgage, we have a investment property that is not being covered by rent. Just didn't make sense. But I never make decisions based on whether they make sense. I make decisions based on what I'm called to do. This is very hard. Okay? Very, very hard, because it is not how we are programmed to navigate this physical reality. It is not how we are programmed to navigate this physical reality. Now, I really need you to understand that choices and your decisions, I say this all the time, are your portals into new timelines. And sometimes when that portal is sitting there waiting for you to tap on it and step through it, it is going to have you trudge through all of the reasons why you shouldn't go there, but your heart is telling you, yes, you need to. Now, there's so many times when, and I call this this is something I call the evidence distortion, by the way. If you make decisions based on your physical reality right now, here's something really important I want you guys to understand. If you look at your physical reality right now in this moment, you have to understand and realize your physical reality is a manifestation of all of your programs, all of your blocks, all of your distortions up until this point. It's what you've created up until this point. So why would you look at your physical reality and wait for it to give you the thumbs up or the green flag for you to do something when it's based on old programming? The first step in transcending your timeline and quantum leaping is being able to make decisions that don't make sense, because your physical reality is limited. Your physical reality is an accumulation of your blocks and distortions up until this point. That's why I call this, what you're experiencing right now, is the evidence distortion. If you're looking for the evidence, you're not going to find it. It is about hearing the call of your soul, acknowledging that this makes no sense. I'm scared as hell because the interest rates are rising. I have to then support myself in a new house, support all of these other things whilst I navigate this, but guess what? I'm going to choose it because I hear the calling. Not because it makes sense, because I hear the calling. If it needed to make sense, then I'd be stuck in the evidence distortion. I'd be looking for the evidence to be like, yeah, Sarah, it's okay, do it now. Oftentimes you'll never get that evidence because, again, it's all of your blocks, distortions, programmings up until this point. If you ever want to transcend your programmings, you make the scary ass decisions based on the calling and based on the desire. Now, number 1, I want you guys to give me a yes in the comments if this is making sense. And like I say this all the time, I teach from embodiment. I teach from putting myself through the fire, guys. So this is where we get to lean in. Number 1. We get to be okay with this is scary as hell. Before I left, I would sit up at night because with my marriage, it was peaceful. It wasn't toxic. We didn't fight a lot. There was just nothing. So I would sit up at night literally going, what the F am I doing? Paralyzed in fear. What the F am I actually doing? It's peaceful. We're so financially secure. We're in such a good place financially. My daughter, it's her home. What am I doing? Could you imagine the internal conflict and the internal turmoil, yet still there was a calling. There was a calling. Sarah, you want this greater level of impact and mission and purpose and service. You can't do it here. It was as clear as day. Fate loves the fearless. It does not come without fear. I want you to know that. But I can promise you now that I've landed on the other side. So what happens is there's the portal, okay? Which is activated by a decision. So I decided I'd freaking had enough. I'd had enough of just this numbness and this indifference. And yes, we've tried. We did the counseling and blah, blah, blah. That decision, that throw the towel in moment, activates a portal. So what happens is you can choose to step through the portal. Now, as you're stepping through the portal, what can happen is you hover over this abyss. And that's the scary part because you're not sure where you're going to land. You're not sure where you're going to land. The abyss for me was the debilitating grief. So I chose to move out. I was debilitated by grief and unexpected grief. It was the I'm not there to braid my little girl's hair every morning before school grief that killed me. It was that I'm not there every afternoon for her to come home to school and to give her a hug. Killed me. That was unexpected. But I can tell you now, having landed on the other side, I have never in my life been so happy. I manifested a new partner, which was sooner than I was expecting. But oh my gosh, to feel compatibility and love and to be desired and all the things I had been asking for, every single thing, everything I've been asking for in my business, in my partner, in relationships, it was on the other side. It was waiting for me. It was on the other side. But I had to choose it and I had to be okay with walking through the fire if it made sense or if it didn't make sense. And it was the hardest thing I'd ever been through in my life. But every fucking time I do this, my trust muscle becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where I know now I can make the craziest decisions because I know what's on the other side of it. Even if I don't know consciously, I know it's going to be a million times better. So number one is you have to know that your decisions are portals into new timelines. And if it's a decision from your soul, know that it might be scary as hell. It might be riddled in grief and you might be petrified, but it's in those moments that you choose to lean the fuck in. All right, beautiful soul, we're going to leave it here for now, but I cannot wait for part 2 of this because we are going to really dive deep into how to work with deliberate creation, how to tap into the quantum regardless of whatever's happening. And I'm going to really open your eyes to some powerful truths when it comes to being in that seat of deliberate creation. And that's all happening next week in part 2. I will see you then. Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.